UFC Fight Night 168 on ESPN Plus 26 Auckland. Dan Hooker versus Paul Felder is this weekend, and I've made a series of prediction videos, and I've broken down quite a few of the fights on the card. I've broken down Paul Felder versus Dan Hooker. Check that out. The same with Jimmy Crute versus Mikhail Alexijuk. I've also broken down Brad Riddell versus Magomed Mustafayev, and I've also broken down Jake Matthews versus Emil Meek. The four most interesting fights. There are other guys on the card that I want to shine a little bit of a spotlight on, and I want you guys to know about, because I can't stretch out a full video for their predictions because they're not as interesting of fights. But I'm going to give them their opportunity, and we're going to begin with the most interesting of the people that I haven't broke down fights of yet, Kai Kara-France. You may see the level of 20-8 as a record and think that this guy is nowhere near superstar level, but this guy is a beast. He's been fighting the best of the best. Flyweight is very hard to keep a good record when you're in the top of the top. Everyone who joins the flyweight division, and you just saw this with Rodrigo Bontorin, you saw it with Raulian Paiva, you saw it with a bunch of other guys, everyone has a phenomenal record when they join the flyweight division in the UFC. Only once you get there do you meet people on your level. There are guys on your level as a welterweight outside of the UFC. There are really good guys just as good as you. There is a massive jump up when you get to the top level at flyweight than there is when you're on regular shows, because there's not the same amount of flyweights. So it makes sense. With Kai Kara-France, he's been fighting the best of the world. I remember him ages ago, and I was introduced to him when I'm sure a lot of you were introduced to him. Don't blink. This guy on The Ultimate Fighter KO'd this black dude. He was smaller than him. He didn't look like he was going to win. And then out of nowhere, boom, one-shot KO power from a flyweight. Everyone goes crazy. That's when I was introduced to Kai Kara-France, and that was a very long time ago. Oh wait, his nickname's Don't Blink. Okay, that makes sense as to why they were titled a video that. Anyway, that's actually news to me. I think Kai Kara-France is going to win his fight against Tyson Nam. I like Tyson Nam. He's been around the game for a very long time. There's no suggestion of him getting better recently. He's 36 years old, and I've said this before. Age doesn't mean much at heavyweight. Age means more and more. Prime means more and more as you go down in weight classes, because what skills you need to compete at lower weight classes are the only skills that are taken away by age. The power never goes with age. Experience never goes with age. Power and experience are the most important things to have as a heavyweight. Speed goes with age. You know? I mean, that's one of the main ones, to be honest with you. And that's one of the biggest things you need to compete at flyweight, to be honest with you. Skill goes a little bit with age. You start getting a little bit sloppier. Things don't seem to be connecting the right way. Another thing that's the most important at flyweight. I feel like as a 36-year-old flyweight, you aren't going to win this. I really think you aren't. And he's coming down from bantamweight to make it happen. I don't see this ending well for Tyson Nam. Not to mention that Kai Kara-France is way shorter but still has a long reach advantage. We saw how it works when guys with shorter arms fight a guy who's shorter than them with a longer reach. Volkanovski versus Holloway was a perfect example. If you're taller than someone but your reach isn't longer, you're at an immediate disadvantage because it's so awkward. You know, why is this shorter guy out jabbing me? This shouldn't be happening. And I feel like Tyson Nam's going to be trying to jab Kai Kara-France, and because Kai Kara-France is smaller than him, naturally, when Tyson Nam punches, he's going to drop his hand a little bit, because he has to. To hit the target, Tyson Nam has to drop his hands. Kai Kara-France is going to come over the top. I think he's going to get a KO win here in the later rounds. On my full prediction video, I said decision. I think it's going to be a KO for Kai Kara-France, and I like Kai Kara-France. He's young in the game. He still hasn't reached his prime. 26 years old. A ton of experience. Yes, he's taken a lot of damage. I just feel like he's going to beat Tyson Nam. This is just not a good matchup for Tyson Nam. Kai Kara-France is going to win and bounce back. He's got the team behind him right now. They're all in it together. I like that mindset. I think Kai Kara-France has got this one in the bag. Moving on. And if he wins this, give him Alejandro Pantoja. Just saying. Moving on to another fight on the card I didn't get to talk about, but I want to talk about. Angela Hill just went on a JRE. Fighting Loma Lookboonmee. Loma Lookboonmee's been talked about for a very long time, and she's been doing very well, very young, which is actually very rare to see in women's divisions. You'll hear a lot of hype about young women in MMA, because MMA in women's divisions is so recent that a lot of women who are 25 just heard about MMA for women, and they're like, oh, I want to do that. Rather than when a guy is 18, he knows about UFC for men and MMA for men. So he's like, oh, I want to do that at 18 rather than 25. You know what I'm saying? There's just a different generation of female fighters right now, and it's going to take about 5 years, I think, before we start getting the young talent coming through, and it starts becoming a bit more of competitive divisions. Either way, Loma Lookboonmee's a beast. Muay Thai stylist, training at City Kickboxing as well for this fight camp. I just watched a video, didn't realise, but she's trained over there for this fight camp, which makes a bit of sense. Get her acclimatised for the situation, I understand. I don't know how much I credit a decision win over Alexander Stitch Albu, because the reality of the situation is, Stitch Albu is fuckable, so she gets in the UFC, despite only having 2 fights. Or 3 fights, whatever the fuck she had. She looked good on Instagram. By the way, catfish. Catfish. Real catfish. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. I remember seeing her on Instagram. I was like, shit, I can't wait to see this girl grapple. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying. And I saw her walk out for the weigh-ins. I'm like, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's keep it striking. You know what I mean? I just spat right at the screen there. That literally, like a 3D film, came right at you. Either way, Loma Lookboonmee's going to lose. Angela Hill, this isn't a short notice fight. And I feel like, I know a lot of people see it as a short notice fight, but Angela Hill just fought like a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or something like that. I feel like she's going to go out there. I know that people are talking about, oh, why isn't she in Auckland yet? She's still on JRE. Isn't she going to get acclimatized? Fighters know their body. Fighters know their body. Some fighters can adjust with jet lag. That's what it's called. Jet lag. Some fighters can't adjust with jet lag. Fighters do things the way they've done things so many times before. If Angela Hill knows she's not going to have jet lag, let her know that she's not going to have jet lag. It doesn't apply to everyone. If she wants to get there 2 days before because she thinks that's best for her body, let her do it. It might be best for her. She's bigger. She's got a way longer reach. She's a more aggressive girl. She's got the grappling in her back pocket. I feel like Angela Hill's going to go out there and get a big win. And hopefully there's big things to come because she's just been on JRE. And as we know, the JRE effect gets you way more hype. Adesanya, Corey Anderson, all these people that maybe were flying under the radar, they get on JRE, everyone's talking about them. They're the best fighter in the world all of a sudden overnight. Angela Hill's going to win. I hope that she does. It'll be better for the division now that she's a big name. I think she's going to do well. Moving on to another fight I want to talk about. On the card, nothing on the prelims other than Cara France and Angela Hill. And obviously Jake Matthews and Emil Meek. I mean, Jarlin Turner's the headliner of the prelims. He's 8-5. Don't understand that move whatsoever. But either way, on the main card, Kevin Aguilar versus Zubaira Tukagov. Quickly, Ben Sassoli, Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. Good fight. Heavyweights. Neither have won in the UFC. Cool. Hopefully one wins. They're pushing heavyweights. If you'll notice, all the heavyweights are getting good positions on cards recently, as you'll see by Juan Adams versus Justin Tafa on the main card of UFC 247. They're pushing heavyweights because they don't have a lot of young talent right now. So what you'll notice is a lot of these guys with not the best records are being on main cards. Ben Sassoli and Marcos Rodrigo de Lima are 2 of them. And I think Ben Sassoli will win. But moving on to Kevin Aguilar and Zubaira Tukagov. Very underrated fight on the card. I think Kevin Aguilar wins. Kevin Aguilar, great record, 17-2. Until recently, he was 17-1. Lost to Dan Ige, which back in June of 2019, people were saying, oh, you lost to Dan Ige? This guy ain't going to be shit. Dan Ige just went out there and had a great performance against Masad Bektik. And is a ranked opponent now. That makes Kevin Aguilar's loss a little bit more understandable. We didn't know how good Dan Ige was. Now we do. Kevin Aguilar's loss doesn't look too bad. It's a common theme on my channel. I feel like I say this quite a bit. With Zubaira Tukagov. He was a guy who, because he is Dagestani and because he looks like Khabib, and this is a common misconception, just because there are 1 or 2 or 3, if you include Makhachev, he'll be there eventually, elite level fighters from a certain area, does not make everyone from that area an elite level fighter. There are runts of the litter in every pack, okay? And you can't judge a pack based on the alpha. You judge a pack as a consensus. I don't know why I've turned this into a wolf analogy for some reason. But either way, Zubaira Tukagov went to a draw with Lerone Murphy at UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi with, if anything, biased judges. I thought that Tukagov should have won, but the judges didn't. And I'm open to that discussion. I thought Zubaira Tukagov could have done enough to win that fight. He definitely did a bit more damage, but Lerone Murphy was in it. I don't mind the draw. I think Tukagov could have won, but I'm open for arguments. If you're going to be an elite level fighter, and you're a Dagestani, and you're praised on your wrestling, and you're this good, and you're that good, and you're going to be the next big thing, you don't take an English guy to a draw on a couple of days' notice who's about 7-0. I don't care if Lerone Murphy goes on to be the best in the world. Right now, he isn't. I think Tukagov should have had an easier work against him. I'm picking Kevin Aguilar to win, but this is a great fight. Featherweight is about to get another contender because, I mean, Zubaira's been in the UFC since 2014, but Kevin Aguilar's pretty recent. You know, I think he's 1-1. He might be 2-1 in the UFC. Let me see. Oh, the Ultimate Fighter finale. That kind of doesn't count, but I guess we'll count it. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He beat Enrique Barzola, which is a phenomenal win because Enrique Barzola is a complete savage. Only lost to some of the best in the division. Kevin Aguilar and Movsar Evloev in his last 7. Let's ignore that Kyle Bochniak split decision. Jesus Christ. Either way, he's beat some good guys. Enrique Barzola is a dangerous man, and I really credit that win for Kevin Aguilar. And I think Kevin Aguilar is going to go out there and put on a show this weekend. So to sum up, pay attention to Kevin Aguilar and Zubaira Tukagov. Pay attention to Kai Kara France versus Tyson Nam. And pay extra attention, not extra, pay a little bit less attention to Loma Lookboonmee versus Angela Hill. Like and subscribe. Oh, man! I was so close to not burping. Every video, I never burp off video. I never burp off video. Every video, it just starts coming up. I can't control it. And now it's ruined. Like and subscribe. Click that button there. Goodbye. See you later. It's all fucked.